Hello, we are presenting on the digital divide. I am Alin Fruin.
I'm Jessica Monterrubio.
And I'm Anna Peters.
For the digital divide, we are going to start with what it is, followed by diving a little bit deeper into its multiple layers. We'll then reference and talk about AI and how it is related to the digital divide. And then we'll take a closer look at digital literacy, followed by, well, what can a teacher do? The main role of universal education is to provide all students with opportunities to learn, thrive, and prosper despite their diverse socioeconomic and cultural circumstances. With that idea in mind, the digital divide is an issue that we have.
The digital divide is a complex issue that affects half of the world's population. So, what exactly is it? It is the gap between those who have ready access to computers and the internet and those who do not. But that only scratches the surface of the issue. Even if everyone had a computer and internet, there is still the problem of digital literacy. Limited knowledge and access to online tools creates disparity and a lack of access to communication. The digital divide affects millions of students who need to complete assignments at home, employees who cannot work remotely, and seniors who need access to healthcare. It reinforces racial, gender, and socioeconomic inequality. The digital divide is creating deeper segregation in our society and leading to social exclusion.
The digital divide is definitely a multi-layered issue. There's many things that affect it, and it's actually a pretty complex issue. The first disparity is access to technology and the internet. Approximately 14 to 26% of US households do not have internet access.
Now, this figure shows the primary reason for the lack of growth in China is a lack of internet knowledge. And it also shows that the primary reason for the lack of growth in South Africa is that they saw no relevance in accessing the internet. So these findings came from communities where a large portion of the population did not have formal employment.
Returning to that, often we talk about two types of gaps with this access to technology and internet. The first is a complete lack of access to internet infrastructure. Approximately 7.1 million US households do not have access to internet because there is no infrastructure or service provided to wherever they are living. The second gap is the affordability gap, and that's the inability to pay for the available internet service that they can get. Approximately 18.1 million US households cannot afford to pay for the internet service available to them. In total, that's over 25 million households in America that can't get access either because it's unavailable or they just can't afford it. A second layer to the digital divide is the knowledge and skill to actually use technology, which includes the internet, but also the computers and apps that are out there. This often is referred to as digital literacy. A digitally literate person can, for example, locate and evaluate information, take and edit digital photos, work through a collection of linked texts, and interact with others in a virtual environment. In becoming digitally literate, people are not just developing skills, but creating new ways to relating to others, making sense of their surroundings, and representing themselves.
And as technology continues to evolve, the technology divide continues to get wider and wider. And some of those issues are related to, for example, now with AI, there comes a new problem for this technological divide. So in these couple of slides, I will be talking about how AI has contributed to that technological divide. And I'll start with just a little history. So right now we are in the midst of the fourth industrial revolution. So through history, new technological innovations have transformed industries in our economy. And each one of them creates a divide between those who have access to it and those who don't have access to it. And like I mentioned, right now we are in the fourth industrial revolution. The first one being with steam and water, Second one, division of labor, electricity, mass production. The third one, electronics, IT, and automated production. According to the World Economic Forum, they describe the fourth industrial revolution as a representation of the integration of digital, physical, and biological systems driven by advancements in technology. And it marks a significant shift in how we live, work, and interact. It has some characteristics. One of the characteristics is, of course, the fusion of technologies and the speed as to which technology continues to evolve. So it hasn't been seen before, but right now, technology just continues to change every year, and sometimes it's just hard to keep up with it. So all of these changes impact our economy. And some of the emerging new technologies or breakthroughs right now are artificial intelligence, robotics, the Internet of Things, autonomous vehicles, 3D printing, nanotechnology, biotechnology, material science, energy storage, and quantum computing. And this has some challenges in the workforce. It transforms the workforce, the need for more reskilling and upskilling to match the requirements of these new jobs. And of course, also some economic and social impacts. It has the potential to increase inequality if access to new technologies is not evenly distributed. According to the World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs report of 2023, artificial intelligence is expected to have a significant impact on the workforce over the next 5 years. And nearly half, around 49% of companies that participated in this report expect to have significant impacts on the workforce. They expect AI to create new jobs, especially in sectors such as data science, big data, and business intelligence. And approximately 25% of the companies predict that AI will lead to job losses, mainly in areas or roles such as the bank tellers, cashiers, clerks, secretaries, and accounting positions. And we're already seeing that when we go to the grocery store and we have our self-checkout. So what's going to happen to all of our cashiers? AI is driving a significant need for reskilling and upskilling, with around 44% of workers' skills expected to change within the next 5 years. Essential skills include analytical and creative thinking, technological literacy, and resilience. And this is according to the World Economic Forum report. According to them, the reskilling requires cooperation between businesses, governments, and educational institutions. With the growing impact of AI, we need to start thinking of initiatives that integrate AI skills to our educational curriculum. Impacts of AI in education and the digital divide. Again, AI has the potential to widen that or bridge that gap on the digital divide. To some of the positive aspects and how it can help us close that divide is that it increases access to information. According to the California Department of Education, they mentioned that these bullet points are ways that AI can impact education. It can facilitate personalized learning experiences for students, analyze student data to tailor lessons and address educational disparities. It could increase access to marginalized populations, like language translation, support for multilingual students, voice typing for students with disabilities, and organizational tools for executive processing support. So some of the tools that we've seen in this class. And also help with administrative tasks and automate workflow for both educators and students. And for students who have access to or are taught how to use it may support them with some after hours tutoring resources. Some of the challenges that can contribute to the digital divide is the implementation of AI often requires robust digital infrastructure, which can increase the digital divide in areas with limited internet access or outdated technologies, and creates economic disparities. As mentioned earlier, AI can create new job opportunities and economic growth in tech-savvy regions, but potentially widen the economic gap between these regions and those lacking in technological development. We are already seeing these disparities in education, where according to the Artificial Intelligence Index report from Stanford University, they found that 67.21% of schools in suburban schools are offering opportunities for students in these areas, whereas 54.73% of urban and 54.62% of rural schools.
Taking a closer look at digital literacy, another way to describe digital literacy is a meaningful digital connectivity. So an individual should be digitally literate to become a competent student, an efficient employee, or an active citizen. Policies that promote digital literacy are crucial, and many students have families have inequitable access to knowledge and to human, digital, and social resources that are necessary for supporting their children. By focusing on digital literacies, we are calling attention to how everyday people understand and use technologies to achieve different goals. And for many families, schools function as a needed bridge to provide their children with computers and the internet resources and support required to optimize their education. So schools need to address the socio-political and economic context that shapes students' and parents' access to and use of digital literacies. So there are several different disciplines that constitute digital literacy. The following table discusses 5 of these disciplines that refer to different skills. These are information, computer literacy, media literacy, communication literacy, and technology literacy. Each of these disciplines is also influenced by 3 perspectives: cognitive, technical, and ethical. For information literacy, it can refer to the ability to search, retrieve, manipulate, evaluate, synthesize, and create digital content. The evaluation and synthesis of information falls within the cognitive perspective. And from the ethical perspective, the ability to evaluate content also supports the understanding of what constitutes the appropriate usage of such content, including issues of copyright and intellectual property protections. The next discipline is computer literacy, and this refers to the ability to operate digital hardware and software. Understanding how to use multiple forms of tools is essential to understand technical know-how. The cognitive aspect of to computer literacy refers to the ability to evaluate how the tool performs and to apply such skills to problem solving. The ethical perspective relates to understanding the appropriate usage of such tools. The next one is media literacy, and this refers to the ability to interact with text, sound, image, video, and social medias. The ability to critique these different forms of media and produce new content falls within the cognitive perspective, while assessing truthfulness of this information and determining how to appropriately manage this information relates to the ethical understanding. Communication literacy refers to the ability to communicate in traditional and innovative mediums, such as email, phone calls, and short text messages. Cognitive abilities related to this discipline include understanding which form of communication is most appropriate to meet the current challenge. Ethically, there are many different concerns to be aware of with respect to what constitutes appropriate usage. The next discipline is technology literacy. This refers to the ability to adopt various technologies to a particular life situation, and knowing which tool to select and being able to adapt the tool to a particular context, context are equally important. Not only is being familiar with programming languages important, but the ability to think critically to solve a problem is an important cognitive ability. The ethical perspective here includes understanding what is appropriate in developing and maintaining a tool.
So schools need to move beyond generic solutions and towards holistic collaborative approaches that bridge the digital divide and ensure equitable access to the transformative potential of technology for all learners, regardless of their background. In other words, we want our students to be digitally literate. How do we get them there? So what can a teacher do? First and foremost, you can understand the students' access outside the classroom. Do they have Wi-Fi at home? Do they have computers and not just like a mobile phone? For students that have no or even unreliable access, we can offer them times and spaces to access tech at school that's outside the school day. We can work with our community spaces to help provide students access to tech and Wi-Fi, whether that's a business or the library or wherever. For parents and guardians of all students, regardless of access status, we can offer them parent workshops that help teach them the tech apps that they need to access information online about their students or become better citizens in and of themselves. Secondly, we can advocate for resources for our students. What devices or programs will help them learn? How can we help allow all students to access the instruction? How can we help teachers improve their workflow? Part of that is building a relationship with your site and district administrators and making sure that your site and district have a vision for working towards eliminating the digital divide. We need to work to get technology and apps directly into the students' hands. So working with your site or district to provide access to students that don't have Wi-Fi access, maybe they can get mobile hotspots. What apps are going to increase the accessibility for all students? Is there grant money out there that's available? Third, we can personally seek out professional development and we can collaborate with each other. So who can help us learn those tools? Who should we collaborate with? And that does take an honest look at yourself to figure out your strengths and your needs. How comfortable are you in designing student-centered lessons that meet the needs of all students, that universal design theory, while at the same time leveraging technology in helping you do that. Building teacher and community support, fostering a school-wide improvement culture where everyone is constantly looking to improve their teaching is important. Attempting to include all teachers. Some teachers are a little less likely to, look outside the little box that they know they're comfortable in. Make sure to include them in whatever is going on and focus on developing staff relationships and collaboration. Fourth, we can definitely plan for all students. Technology is not always necessary to reach our learning outcomes, but if it is necessary, okay, what accommodations are you going to allow for students that don't have home access or at least have limited home access? Again, leverage the technology as needed. If we're using it, we need to ask whether we are meeting learners on a personalized basis. Technology-based learning experiences should align with and encourage higher order thinking and greater creativity. So ask yourself, what learning experiences are you designing? Are students actively engaged with the available technology, tools, and digital materials? Have you taught the students how to use the tech tools and apps required to complete the tasks?
As far as how we can use AI to help us close this digital divide, I'll go over some of the things that we can do as teachers or at our schools. And I'll start with this quote from the California Department of Education. They said, by integrating AI skills into our educational approach, We not only bridge the digital use divide, but also prepare our students for a future where AI is an integral part of their lives. Building the capacity of K-12 artificial intelligence education research looked into collaborated with the different AI experts and educators. And this report summarized the findings from their workshop and where these experts were brought together, and they agreed on these points as necessary to build AI literacy. One, AI should not be a black box. So giving students the opportunity to understand how AI system works and evaluate AI models and their societal impacts. And also to follow, and number two, to follow the 5 big ideas of AI. These were developed by the AI for K-12 initiative, and they aim to provide guidelines for fostering AI literacy. The first one is perception. So understanding that AI systems can perceive and understand the world through sensors, cameras, microphones, and other input devices. The second one is representation and reasoning. Agents maintain models, representations of the world, and use them for reasoning. 3, it's learning, understanding that AI systems can improve their performance over time through learning from data. 4 is natural interaction. And this talks about AI systems being able to understand and generate human language, enabling communication between humans and machines. And 5, understanding the societal impact, as AI has a profound implications for society, including ethical challenges related to fairness, transparency, accountability, and the impact of jobs and privacy. And understanding these impacts is crucial for the responsible and development of AI technologies. So they agree that these are some of the steps that we can take to help our students or educate ourselves as teachers, as educators, and help our students understand how these systems work. Also, students should have transferable AI literacy, where this refers to students' ability to transfer knowledge of what AI is and how it works and its implications in society, and integrate pedagogical practices such as problem-based learning, hands-on experiences, where students have the opportunity to not only learn about these systems, but also start applying them in their lives properly. And number 5, I agree that it's important that to have the support of multiple stakeholders and convince school districts why AI and AI systems are important for young students to learn about. Lastly, I included some resources, next slide, that are available to start teaching students. These are mainly targeted for students 6th grade and up, so 6th grade to 12th grade. And these are from Common Sense Education. They are AI literacy lessons that are ready to go and no need for any planning. They're just there to start introducing these concepts to students and start getting them to think about how it affects them and in their lives. And the other one is from AI4K12.org. And these are activity resources. And some of them, they are unplugged lessons for younger students, for students as young as 1st grade, as kinder, 1st grade, 2nd grade. And these are unplugged, where they just start learning about patterns and how AI learns from those patterns and learns from that data, just so they start building that those skills and that knowledge.
So in conclusion, we're going to end with just a couple quotes. The first is, "The blend of both online and face-to-face modes of teaching and learning, even in the absence of a pandemic, promises ample benefits, including addressing students' unique learning and needs and preferences." The great potential of educational technology to improve teaching and learning will only be realized if our ed tech efforts go hand in hand with a commitment to digital equity. It's our hopes that you will work and try in your little area of education to do what you can to help your students become digitally literate, and also to help bridge that gap.